My boyfriend of 7 years disappeared on Christmas Eve. I found him yesterday at a coffee shop with his wife and kids. I met James when I was 23 working late at a marketing agency in Chicago. He came in as a client and we connected instantly. He was handsome, successful, and seemed completely devoted to me. His job required him to travel constantly. He told me he was a consultant for international businesses, flying between Chicago, New York, and London almost weekly. Our relationship adapted around his schedule, per intense, passionate weekends together followed by days or sometimes weeks apart. I never questioned it because it made sense. His phone would show international numbers calling. He'd send photos from hotel rooms in different cities. He even had the frequent flyer miles to prove it when I suggested visiting him during one of his trips. He always had a reason why it wouldn't work: tight schedules, back-to-back meetings, company policies about visitors. I believed him because I loved him and because everything else felt so perfect when we were together. We had a small circle, paired mostly my friends, as his were scattered globally due to his work. He never used social media because of privacy concerns with his high-profile clients. Looking back, the red flags were waving frantically, but I was too in love to see them last Christmas Eve. We had plans to finally meet his parents, who were supposedly flying in from Seattle. I spent weeks finding the perfect outfit, practicing my best impression, and even researching Seattle to have conversation topics ready that morning. James texted that he was picking up his parents from the airport and would meet me at the restaurant at 7 p.m. I arrived early, nervous and excited. 7 p.m. came and went, then 8, then 9. My calls went straight to Bella's mail. His texts went undelivered. I sat alone at that table for 3 hours before the pitying waitstaff finally brought me a free glass of wine and the check. I was frantic. I called hospitals, police stations, even his company's emergency line. No one had heard of a James Anderson with his description. The company had no record of him ever working there. I went to his apartment. The doorman had never heard of him. Chabot, the key I had no longer worked. When I convinced the building manager to check, the apartment was registered to a property management company that rented it by the month to business travelers. James had vanished completely. No trace. I spent months in therapy trying to understand what happened. Was he in witness protection? Was he kidnapped? Did he have a secret life? The not knowing was the worst part. Yesterday, almost exactly 1 year later, I was grabbing coffee before work when I saw him. James was sitting at a corner table looking exactly the same, except he was with a woman and 2 children, maybe 6 and 8 years old. I froze, coffee spilling over my shaking hands. He looked up and our eyes met. There was a flash of panic on his face before he quickly looked away, pulling his son onto his lap like a shield. I walked over, my heart pounding so hard I could barely hear. James, I said. The woman looked up confused. Do you know Michael? He finally looked at me, his eyes pleading. Sorry, you must be mistaking me for someone else, but his voice paired, I'd know it anywhere. The woman was staring at me now, then at him, noticing how pale he'd become. You disappeared, I whispered. On Christmas Eve. His little girl tugged his sleeve. Daddy, who is she? The woman's expression changed as realization dawned. She gathered the children, saying they needed to use the restroom, leaving us alone. My name is Michael Pearson, he said quietly, once they were gone. I have a wife of 10 years and 2 children. What we had, it wasn't real. I'm sorry. He stood up, put a $20 bill on the table and walked to join his family by the restrooms. They left through the back exit. I sat in his empty seat, staring at his half-finished coffee. 7 years of my life spent loving a complete fiction. 7 years I'll never get back. I still don't know which parts were real, if any, but I do know one thing, per turn I am changing coffee shops.